adventure stories. Today I'm going to talk about adventure stories. I chose to inquire into adventure stories because I love reading and writing, and I especially like the adventure genre. I have three main lines of inquiry. The first question is, what are adventure stories? The second question is, what makes a successful adventure author? The third question is, how do adventure stories progress and how have they? What are adventure stories? There are quite a few genres, including adventure, fantasy, romance, and nonfiction. Adventure stories are often mixed with other genres to create an enticing story. For older kids' books, when the protagonist goes on an adventure, he or she falls in love with someone, hence the romance. Also, many adventure stories are fantastical and have mythical creatures in them. Often, authors make up their own popular culture to be put in the story. Adventure stories contain many elements like a quest, suspense, and surprise. One thing almost all stories contain is suspense. This makes you want to know what's happening next, which hooks the readers in. Surprise does the same thing, except it makes readers surprised at this or that turn of events. Usually, adventure stories have a hero that embarks on a quest into an unfamiliar landscape. One common theme is danger. All adventure stories contain danger of some sort. Also, they often faced a challenge which they had to surpass to get to the next step. Or maybe it was a problem that stuck with them throughout the entire story, and they finally vanquished it at the end. What makes a successful adventure author? Usually, a successful adventure writer's stories will hook people in by making the readers wonder what will happen next. They also put something interesting at the beginning. By doing this, they will make readers want to know what would happen next, if the beginning was so interesting. Basically, after they read the blurb or a few chapters, the reader will like it and keep reading. Another obvious fact is that the story or storyline has to be interesting, or else readers won't even read the book. An adventure author also has to be adventurous themselves. They have to understand what it is like to adventure so they can know the characteristics. They also have to understand what the age group they're writing for likes, so they can entice that age group. According to Miss Hubbard, an expert in literature, adventure writers need to be able to consider all the ideas that come their way and let them grow and blossom. How do adventure stories progress through the age groups? Baby or toddler adventure books are more simpler than older kids' adventure books. They consist of one simple adventure which somebody embarks on and doesn't go into the specifics. For older kids' adventure books, though, they have more complicated storylines, and often the main character falls in love with another quite prominent character. How have adventure stories changed, and how might they change in the future? In the ancient times, the stories always had a main hero, who went on one or sometimes multiple quests. But nowadays, adventure stories can be about anything, from finding out you're from the ancient colony of Atlanteans to just having a simple problem. In the 1800s and 1900s, adventure stories were quite tame. Almost all of them ended with a happily ever after, not like today's books, which often have cliffhangers and such. They never really got you surprised. In the future, people might not read books. They might read on tablets or Kindles or whatever device is good for reading in the future. The stories might also be more interactive, with the evolution of Roblox and other games or websites. You might be able to choose which path you go on or how you move on. You might even be able to do it in VR. You might be able to act as a character in the story and experience it. I think this because there's something called the metaverse, and people are hoping that the metaverse will be able to let us interact with places around the world online. Then I can probably do the same with books and movies and adventure stories. Fun facts. My topic is linked to global goal number 4, quality education, because adventure stories relate to reading and writing. Global goal 4.6 is universal literacy and numeracy. By 2030, ensure that all youth and a substantial proportion of adults, both men and women, achieve literacy and numeracy. Also, did you know that romance is the most popular book genre with 30% of people liking it? Adventure stories govern 20% of it. Adventure stories are cool, and I hope you read them. They're even more fun to write, but it takes some effort. I hope this encourages you to enjoy and create more adventure stories. Bye!